Hello, everyone. Welcome to Secrets of Saltmarsh. This is our Ghosts of Saltmarsh Patreon Greyhawk campaign. I am Stelluna. I'll be your DM and host for today. Welcome, everybody. I just want to give a real quick shout out to all of our Patreons. Because of our Patreons, all the things that we do here are possible. All the people that you see here on the screen are some of our very lovely Patrons. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to see what you can get for being a Patreon, you can check out that link there in the chat. We also have a YouTube. You can find all of our previous episodes of this campaign and all of our other campaigns on YouTube as well. There are a couple ways that you can interact with this game. You can, I was going to say introduce, like, wait, hold on. I'm introducing it, not you. There are a couple of ways that you can interact with this game. You can redeem channel points for free, which you get for hanging out, to redeem a blessing or an advantage die to the player of your choice, including myself, which lets them do a reroll at a convenient time. Or every $10 guarantees a draw from the deck of many things to the player of your choice. These are really cool. They help change the story in significant ways. They can be good, they can be bad. Only time can tell you what it's going to be. We're going to go ahead and introduce all of our characters real quick. Tell us a little bit about who you are, who you're playing, and we're going to start off with Emma, please.
Hi, it's me, Emma, also known as Emma Panada. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Emma Panada. On Twitch, we have various TTRPG games going. My partner, Matihi, on Tuesday nights runs a Curse of Strahd game that's incredible. So if you're going to check out one of the games currently going, I highly suggest that one. But we have some other ones going on as well. And then on Twitter, I largely just shitpost and troll my friends. So if you want to follow along for that, follow me there. I'm also currently developing a TTRPG called All the Witches, and I have a Twitter for that where I periodically update it when there are things to update, and you can follow that at allthewitches_.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. Tell us a little bit about who you're playing today.
I always forget that part. I am playing Arlen, a cleric / warlock, who is a kind of the spoiled rich girl of some retired adventurer parents who were very successful in their endeavors and had a lot of money. She grew up hearing their stories, and then because they wouldn't support her going off and going on adventures, she stole some stuff and ran away. And now she's claiming their own experiences and stories as her own, and putting on this front of being a very brave and experienced adventurer when she is not necessarily either of those things.
Thank you very much. Next, we have GeekDice.
Hey, I'm GeekDice. You can find me here every other Wednesday. It's pretty much the only place you can find me right now. And I am playing KayBee. He's an old boy, Fenadiri, wizard knight, sworn champion, defender of the sea lily, and her lady Arlen.
Excellent. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your mechanical companions?
Yeah, so I've got this this mechanical deer that I ride. It is a artificer's steel defender. Their name is Poke. And then I also have a tiny familiar owl that goes by the name of Friend.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Next, we have Godfather Race.
Helps if I unmute before I try talking. Hi, I'm Godfather Race V_ESG. You can call me Godfather Wraith, GFW, pretty much anything you want except late for dinner. So yeah, I'm playing Garen. He's a human rogue who just likes to quietly do his own thing, which usually is just following the group. But yeah, I guess I've got nothing really special to say because I'm just me.
What is Garen's favorite snack?
I don't know. I hadn't thought about that.
Not Reese's Pieces.
I'm not sure if Reese's Pieces exist in Saltmarsh, but or in Greyhawk.
They do now.
All right, then yeah, it's Reese's Pieces.
Excellent. Cool.
But they're not what you think they are.
Oh,
Oh no.
Oh no. Speaking of, next we have Indy.
Hi, my name is John. I go by Andicarus on the internet, and you can find me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and other places. And a lot of times you can find me here on every other Wednesday playing Pole of Ammonfort. And Pole is new to adventuring. This is his first adventuring party, and he's mostly having a good time so far. It sure beats hanging out on the streets of Ammonfort where he didn't have anything to eat. Now he's super rich and he has no concept of how he's going to spend all the money that he has, but he bets he's going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Excellent, thank you. And can you tell me a little bit about who accompanies Pole?
All right, well, he's got a few friends. The main one that's the most important is Penny Sprinkle, and he found this out recently when she died. But fortunately, because she is a familiar, she can just be brought back and resummoned. She didn't really die, and so he was very happy to find that out. He also has a pet mouse who probably would die, so he's going to take extra special care that the goblin who is his roommate doesn't find out too much about this mouse, because he always looks a little too hungry. Yeah, he's also got a couple of other things. They're not really companions per se, but he has a mechanical canary inside a cage that moves around. It was made by some gnomes. He's got this thing called the Clear Cat of Chendel, which is kind of like a little cat, but it doesn't do anything either. And he doesn't really remember how he got it, but he'll probably find out one day that it's cursed. So yeah, he's had a lot more adventures than he knows that he had, because sometimes he got a bit too drunk to remember.
I love it. Thank you so much. Next we have Zombie Fighter 89.
Hello, I'm Jacob. I'm Zombie IMZ. I'm any of those two names you like to call me. I am the lore keeper and Captain C of the Good Ship Clip. I probably do too many clips, but it's up to your own discretion. I play Finn Carson on this adventure, who is a ranger researcher who has more or less been trying to find this big evil, which he feels is connected to all of the undead and all of the zombie hordes that he's had to deal with all of his life, which have brought him great tragedy in many instances. One of which was his family life was forever changed by it. Currently, Finn is now happily talking to these lizard people who don't want to hurt him at all, and everything is fine. As far as me goes, you can find me on Twitter at ZombieFighter89. You can find me on Twitch. I will be doing Twitchy stuff, but I'll announce all of that other stuff at the end. You can find me every single Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern with B Street Homes. We do our nerdy news show. And then I'll do all my extra stuff at the end.
Excellent. Thank you. I have to give myself a blessing. Thank you so much, Adam, for that.
Adam, what nerd?
So last time on Secrets of Saltmarsh, we made our way inland and we encountered a couple of things. One of the things that we discovered were remnants of what looked like very large eggs. We couldn't determine what exactly they were from or what happened to them, other than they had been there for quite some time. The other thing that we discovered were some oozes, very strange creatures that came up out of the murky swamp, and we were able to defeat them. As we made our way towards the lizard folk lair, where we know it is, we made the decision to be very overt in our approach. We approached this wooden fortification built into the side of a mountain. And it was there where we had Finn leaning up against the door and peering inside, trying to get a quick look. And from there, where he was grabbed, thrown in, and the door was slammed shut.
Also, Stella, there is one other thing we discovered
What's that?
yesterday or last time. Even when Garen is being down on himself and no confident, he's still a badass at finding his way in the swamp.
That is very true. I remember that, yes. Garen has an amazing innate ability to traverse through the wilds, even when he's doubting his ability.
Yes.
Yeah.
No matter how lost Garen is, he'll always find his way.
Yeah. So we're gonna open up tonight's session right outside of the lizard folk lair. You hear the door being barred from the inside. You stand before a very sturdy wooden door. Without Finn, what would you like to do?
So wooden door, is there a lock on it?
Yes. However, you hear it being barred from the other side.
All right.
I don't think that was the plan.
No.
I knock. Finn, what are you doing?
Okay. So we see the camera slide between the doors and go through the darkness. On the other side, Finn, you find yourself being dragged across the ground. And when you are finally let go, you are on the ground. And all around you, there are 4 lizard folk. And they each have a spear pointed at you. They immediately begin to talk to each other. And you recognize this to be Draconic, as the only person in the group that speaks Draconic. You can hear that they are very nervously saying things along the line of, "What shall we do with him? We should get rid of him. We don't want these outsiders coming in now. Now is not the time."
I don't know if insight would be the right thing, but can I look to see if any of these 4 are any of the 4 that I knew on the ship, if any one of them were from the ship?
Yes. If you want to kind of look over them, you can roll me a perception check. If you want to use insight, you can kind of like do a gut check of like what are their intentions with you.
Oh, okay. Either one's the same, so I'll just do perception then.
Okay. With a 12 perception, you don't recognize any of these people here. You don't see anything on their person that might indicate who they are. They seem to be guards, obviously. You are at the entrance. But beyond that, tell me when to stop.
Why?
GeekDice, thank you so much for the card.
Thank you, GeekDice. Stop.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Is it gonna make things worse?
That's a good one.
No. I guess he'll okay, I'll have to do this, I guess. So he's gonna speak in Draconic.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna be like, come in pace. We're just scouting out to make sure everyone here is all right. I had been told before when we had a ship that there was some kind of war going on, and we helped some of your comrades off the ship with some weapons.
He speaks our tongue. Someone jabs a spear closer to you. They don't stab you.
Sorry.
They don't stab you. But you can tell that they are very nervous. You can tell that they are not welcoming of your presence here. And they seem to be more alert and frightened that you speak their tongue rather than being disarmed. You seem to be startling them even further. And you hear a knock coming from the other side of this massive wooden door, and all of their heads whip over towards the door at the same time.
I don't know what to do in this situation.
Okay, that's fine. You can always choose to do nothing, too.
I'll just do nothing at this point, yeah.
Okay.
I'll just.
KayBee, you hear someone moving towards the door. You can tell they're on the other side of the door, and they begin to speak to you in Draconic. You obviously don't understand, but they say, "Begone with you! We don't want any outsiders here. You are not welcome."
I just want my friend. You better be careful. Don't make him upset.
You see Finn, the person that's at the door, whips their head around towards the group and says, "I do not understand them. What are they saying?" And then one of the guards closest to you nudges you with their boot and says, "What are they saying? What is your purpose? Why are you here?"
What he's saying is he just wants me out and safe. He just wants me back. It's all he wants. He's part of my crew. Like I said, we were sent here to make sure that everything was all right with you, with this group of I I, Jacob, don't remember what they are. What is the thing that they're facing?
The
lizard folk
Sahagin.
Sahagin. Okay, so we heard that the Sahagin could be a giant threat to here and a lot of other places as well. And
As soon as you say Sahagin, they all interrupt you. And they say, "Are you with the Sahagin?" And they bring their spears even closer.
No. I'm against them. As I said before, I helped members of your I helped members of your clan bring home weapons and shields and swords that were on our ship.
On your ship. You see two of them kind of withdraw and they begin to whisper to one another. And they come back and say, "We will remove your weapons and you will come with us."
That's fine. It's fine.
Speak to your comrades and tell them to drop their weapons. And two of the lizard folk begin to pull you up onto your feet, and one of the others begins to pull your weapons from you.
That's no resistance from Finn at all.
Okay. And then they begin to shove you towards the door.
Just to be clear, do you want me to tell them to drop their weapons and come in? Or just drop their weapons?
We will bring you to see our queen, but we will disarm you first.
Okay. All right, and then he'll open the door, and he'll look at, I guess, KayBee would be the first person he sees, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He'll look at KayBee and he'll go, "Drop your weapons. They're very unsure of us. But they seem to be, I don't know if okay is the right word, but I don't know. But they're giving me a chance to talk to their queen, and I think all of us should just drop our weapons and not seem any more hostile than need be."
Captain?
Finn is in charge on this one, so he thinks that's what we should do. That's what we should do.
Well,
and
if we don't do it, I'm gonna get stabbed with a spear.
She causes her club to just disappear in thin air.
Okay.
Oh.
Paul drops his staff on the ground. Bonk.
Start dropping weapons. Long sword, short sword, dagger.
Just everything.
Garen would hesitate, and then when he sees everybody else is disarming, he would also set down his short bow, take his short sword belt off, and apparently he has a bomb. I don't know where, and he would set that down.
I think y'all have like 6 Molotov cocktails somewhere too.
That might be one of them. I don't know.
Okay, I guess.
Okay. Does anyone want to secret any weapons on their person?
If I had given Garen daggers, he'd probably try to hold on to one, but no, I didn't.
Okay. So after a few moments, after everyone has been removed of their weapons, you are all kind of gathered inside of the lair. The map.
Boy.
Okay. So. Oops. Don't look. Oh, sweats nervously and roll 20 loading slowly. Okay. So as the group of you are kind of ushered in, you can see that this the interior of this place is pretty close. You see that it has been constructed relatively finely. You see that the corridor is about 10 feet wide with 12-foot high ceilings. You can see that there are pieces of stone, there are wooden ceiling cross beams, And though the tunnels seem to be a little bit rough, you can tell that there is definitely some work put into it. Why can't you see that? There we go. Okay. You can see that the interior is quite expansive, and as you're being led in, you see that you are passing by a number of different tunnels that span in all sorts of directions. Just from the way that it's laying out, you can tell that this is probably a very, very deep dwelling in the side of the mountain here. You pass by quite a few people. You can see that they are dressed very differently. You see that there are warriors. You see that there are craftsmen. You can see that there are some shamans. There are children, little hatchlings. So you're passing by many, many people, and you're being escorted along. You see towards the back of the group that a few of the guards have gathered up your weapons, and they are bringing them with you. You just don't have them on your person. What is everyone's demeanor like as you're kind of being prodded along? You can tell that the lizard folk are quite uncomfortable and that they are on edge. As you're passing by others that obviously live here, they seem to be regarding you with a sense of distance, with a sense of distrust and wariness.
So KayBee is smiling and waving at them, especially the children. And I've pulled up a pouch of candied dates from my belt, and I pop one in my mouth and I'm chewing on it loudly, smiling, and I make little grunting noises. Oh, that's good. And I'll offer some to one of the children.
Okay. You can see that the children, as you're making your way along, they don't seem to be attended by any adults. They seem to be kind of running along, doing their own thing. At this particular point, as you're kind of being encouraged forward, two hatchlings come up to you. You can see one of them has a very broad head, and another one is quite small, kind of scrawny-like. And they begin to chatter to each other in Draconic. And one of them looks at you with wide eyes, the very, very small one.
Hi. This is really good. You want to try one?
The hatchling almost seems to start to climb on top of you, trying to reach, like pulling on your clothes, trying to pull you closer.
Here you go. Yeah, you can have one.
The hatchling begins to immediately shove it into their mouth.
That's good, right?
And like they begin to chatter, and the noises that they are making are quite pleased. And you see the other one starting to look a little jealous, looking at you a little sharply, kind of reaching forward in the same manner, hand extended.
Yeah, I can give you one too.
Turn to Garen.
I was kind of worried. He was like licking his chops. I didn't know if you want to take a bite out of me.
I wasn't sure either.
As the little hands pull up my pouch at some point, I probably just surrender the entire pouch.
Okay, yeah. As soon as they remove the pouch from you, they begin to run away with it. They just completely take it away. You see that some of the guards that are accompanying you seem to be displeased by this, and they're barking at you. And of course, Finn is the only person that they can understand. But they say something along the lines of like, "What kind of garbage are you giving our children? What is that? It must be a type of poison."
It's not poison, he says in Draconic.
Uh-huh.
He's very nervous. Finn's very nervous because he was very proud of himself that he de-escalated the situation on the boat with speaking Draconic, and now it seems like everything he's done has just made things worse in this situation. So he's very unsure if he should have even spoke Draconic in the first place, but he's hoping it'll work out, but he's very nervous. He's very unsure.
Garen has been tense this whole time, trying to seem like he's at ease, but I'm not even going to try to roll. He's tense and it's visible, no matter how hard he tries. But he's trying to stay on alert, and with a 18 perception, does he notice any details?
Yes, absolutely. Before I tell you the details, what is Pole doing? What is Pole like?
Oh, Pole's all right. He thinks everything's gonna be all right, no problem. Um, Especially with KB and the kids, if you can if the kids like him, they can't be bad. So, the ones that grew up, they're a little tense because bad things are happening in their lives, but once they get home and talk to their kids, everything will be clear and we won't have to worry about it. So that's his attitude. He's pretty casual. He figures that Finn has it all under control because he speaks Draconic and everything. So everything's cool and it's just their culture. We don't necessarily understand it. Doesn't mean that we're doing anything wrong or they're doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Sort it out.
Excellent. And what about Arlen?
Oh, you know Arlen. Arlen is walking down these halls very confident and comfortably as if nothing is going on. Kind of very much like she owns the place-ish. She still has the air about her that this is like all a test for Finn to see how he does. And she's overly confident in that. She's like, if something goes wrong, I can just handle it.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Piper, for this card. Emma, please tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. All right. So you are led through a number of winding tunnels. Garen, as you're kind of keeping an eye out for your surroundings, you see that there are a number of wooden doors, and I've went ahead and cleared them a bit on the map there, so you can see them. You can tell that from the very many tunnels that branch out that this layer must be quite large, and that there are proper rooms established for these. You see that there are a number of pots and containers that kind of line the hallways as well. The layer is very well lived in, and you can tell from just the number of people that you pass by that there must be at least 50, maybe 100 people that live here. This is not a small place, and you are very, very easily outnumbered here. As the group of you are led between two very heavy oak doors here, you enter what looks like a throne room. Here, two sets of 3 pillars flank a central area where two more lizard folk hatchlings are currently playing. At the far end of the room, a wooden throne stands on a low stone dais. Carvings of reptiles decorate the throne, and glints of reflected light hint at the presence of inset gemstones. You see the heads of several creatures hanging on the walls, mounted on plaques of wood as display for trophies. As you're kind of escorted in here, you see that the 2 hatchlings ahead of you, they immediately stop, and they begin to run towards the group. One of them, with a much slender head and with streaks of pink kind of flaring out across their snout, she runs up to Garen, and she begins to reach for one of your pockets.
Garen's gonna put his hands over his pockets.
You see little tiny children fingers are trying to sneak underneath your palms and trying to wriggle in there.
He would eventually relent.
Okay. What is in your pocket? Whatever you want to be in your pocket.
Probably a spare bowstring and beef jerky.
Okay. She seems to be more interested in the string. She takes the string, and you see her kind of sit down and begin to play with it. Her playmate wanders over to Pole, and he looks over you, looking to see if you have any pockets.
Well, I'm wearing pirate clothes, so I have some pockets, but my pants are probably so tight they can't get their fingers in the pockets.
Yeah, there's like a brief attempt, and then they just kind of wander away, and they begin to make their way towards Arlen. Do you have any visible pockets, Arlen?
Maybe just my bag, but
Okay.
no pockets on like my armor.
Yeah, he looks like he thinks about putting his fingers into your bag, but he changes his mind and he runs off, and the two of them begin to play with the bowstring from Garen's pocket. You hear one of the guards kind of leave your side and begin to head towards the far side of the room. As they head in through a door, they reemerge, and in tow, they have someone who's dressed far differently from anyone that you've seen before. You see an imposing figure. She is easily 6-7 inches taller than any of the guards that you've seen. She is very muscular, and she has an array of mail kind of layered on top of leather. And you see that she is wielding a staff. It is made of charred wood, and it seems to wrap around a silver gemstone at the very center. The queen takes her seat at the throne, and in common, she calls out to you and says, "You are not welcome in my home, but you are here nonetheless. Step forward. Identify yourselves."
Arlen nudges Finn. You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, this going between different tongues is messing me up. Finn will kind of bow up a little bit. He'll just be like, you know what? May as well just say this with confidence as best we can, and go. And I guess I don't know if we've like I'll name everybody. I'll be like, in Draconic, I'll be like, my name is Finn. That is KayBee. And I'll visibly point to all of you so you know who I'm referring to you. This is Garen. This is Arlen, and this is Poe. And is Penny Sprinkle out flying around?
Yep.
Okay, and then I'll point over and say that is also Penny Sprinkle.
And you're saying this
Sure.
all in Draconic?
Yes.
Okay.
Introducing she wanted to know all of us. I don't think we have a group name, so I just want everybody to.
Yeah. And when Finn points to Garen, he stands at attention.
Okay. You see the queen look over each one of you with a critical eye. And as soon as Finn finishes, she turns her gaze to him and says, "In common, I see that you speak our tongue. That is quite unusual. However, my guard has told me that you mentioned something of joining forces against the Sahagin, perhaps. You have
Yes.
helped some of our kin acquire weapons."
I have. We boarded a ship that was a bunch of no good doers. Were going to do stuff to our town. And as we took the ship, we noticed that you had some of your kin within the ship. And they were also surprised I could speak your language. So I talked to them about it, and against our own told about not letting people off the ship, I let them gather the weapons that they had brought and the weapons that they were going to bring back, and we let them go. They seemed like really nice people once I got to actually talk to them, and I didn't want to stand in the way if there was actually some evil happening here. And we also feel like that evil will invade part of our town, just as a big, huge takeover. And if we can help stop this great evil, I don't see why we can't. I don't see why we wouldn't want to defeat this together.
Your words carry some wisdom with them. However, we don't know who you are, and we don't trust you.
That's fair.
It has been long the understanding of our people that humans and the folk of Saltmarsh are not interested in the affairs of the swamp. Do you say that Saltmarsh wishes to join forces? Is that what you are here for?
We were sent by a council from the Saltmarsh to investigate what's going on here, especially with the Sahagin, invading not only your lands but possibly our lands as well. But yes, especially after meeting the kin that you had, I definitely would like to stop whatever's happening myself personally anyway. So
I see. Well, perhaps you can convince me that your people might be of some benefit to us. We have been forming alliances with other people and other dwellers of the swamp and the sea to join forces against the sea devils.
Paul will speak up at this point. Oh,
Okay.
do you know Oceanus? Sea elf. He would. I bet his people would want to join with you.
We have not had any conversation with the sea elves as of yet, but there are many others that wish to join us against our fight in the Sahagin. This is what I propose. I wish you to dwell among my people for the next day or two.
Okay.
I want to see how you treat them, how you will help them, how you will be among them. Earn my trust, and you can leave here with my confidence. And perhaps we can be friends. You may want to speak with the leaders of my camp. One individual you should seek out is by the name of Sariv. I'll spell that out for you. Sariv.
Okay.
I am Queen Othakent.
Okay.
Perhaps there's some way that you can earn our trust.
And anything you would request of us, we will do. I'd like to earn your trust, and I want to stomp out whatever this is, while it's still just contained in its little area and not spread all over and destroying everything, not including here.
She doesn't say anything to that, but she looks over the rest of you, and she says, "We will be watching, and we will be listening. Help yourself to our home. If you need rest, if you need food, we will give it to you. But you are not to leave until you speak with me again. Am I clear?"
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Can you tell us, Soriv, does he speak Common? I know only Finn here can speak Draconic, so if there's other people we could talk to, without having to ask Finn every time, that would be good.
Should be
Sariv,
helpful.
Sariv will be the only other individual here that can speak Common. So you may want to earn his favor and perhaps have him help you around the camp. It is good that one of your people can speak our tongue. You see Queen Othakent look to you, KayBee, as...
Actually, out of character.
Okay, yeah.
You described there was creature heads, trophies around the room, I think.
Yes.
What are those? I look at those carefully, and
Okay.
I wish to deduce what kind of creatures those are.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a nature check.
Nature. I might be okay at nature. 23.
Okay.
23. Okay. On the west wall, you see the head of a giant crayfish, a carrion crawler, a hippopotamus, a hobgoblin, and Sahagin. On the eastern wall, you see the head of a brown bear, a lion, a shark, a giant frog, and another shark.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yes. You are dismissed. You see the queen rise and begin to leave the room. And the guards kind of warily stand off to the side.
Well, Arlen, I think that went better than that went pretty good.
That went pretty well, yes. We're going to have to stay here a bit longer than expected. Perhaps I'll be able to swim to our ship, let them know. What? You did good, Finn.
You.
Well versed
we-
at
did we-
diplomacy, but
Did we tell the people on the ship we'd be back tonight? Did we tell them specifically when we'd be back?
I don't
I
believe
told
we did.
them we'd come back and let them know how long we'd be gone.
Hmm.
If we're gone too long, they're gonna start up Naked Day without us.
I know, but maybe. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to risk too much, but do you think maybe Penny Sprinkle would be small enough to fly back to the ship unnoticed, tell them how long we're gonna be here, and then fly back?
So,
Well, that's not like we agreed with their queen that we wouldn't leave. I think
Right.
that included Penny.
That's what I thought.
don't think
Okay.
we should break our agreements.
I don't want to either.
We could ask them to send a messenger to the ship, or ask permission for one of us to go. But I wouldn't just go and sneak around like
Yeah, I
that.
wouldn't either.
Not
Okay,
right.
yeah, I guess we could see. Yeah, okay. Let's see.
That's smart.
Yeah, let's see if we can. Yeah, because I don't want our crew to be. A, I don't want our crew to worry about us. B, I don't want one of our crew to go searching for us. Either one doesn't sound good.
Yes, searching for us could make things worse.
Yes, on everyone.
You know, do they even know that we got a ship? I mean, if they're like
Well-
seeking allies and we got a ship, that's maybe like a big deal. We got a ship.
We didn't tell them we had a ship.
No.
Something for later.
Well,
we can talk to them, see if we can send someone out. But if they say no, then we don't go.
yeah,
We don't want to betray their trust so quickly.
I would just warn them that there might be someone from our ship, but that's about it.
Well, I guess meanwhile, we can see what we can do to help them. Maybe there's
Yeah.
something we can do to help them be prepared to like defend themselves.
Yes.
I can like fix some of their weapons, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Looks like they need some kind of daycare or something.
Just as
They're
you
all
say
running
that,
about.
you see more hatchlings just running past, like feral little creatures.
Right, Paul, do you want to
Um,
be on daycare duty?
Oh, I think that would be fun.
Right.
Watch their teeth; they look really sharp.
Do you want to chase after the children?
I don't want to chase after them. No,
Okay.
that would look too aggressive. I think I don't want to get stabbed or poked. But I will start playing songs on my lute to see if they're interested in music at all. If they are,
Okay.
then maybe I can even learn some of their little lizard nursery rhymes.
Excellent. So as soon as you start playing music, you see the children kind of peek back the direction that they had gone, and they begin to wander towards you very slowly. As they get closer and closer, you see a few of them are actually trying to reach up and touch your instrument.
I'll let them touch it.
Okay. They don't
But,
seem to be destructive or anything like that, but they seem to be more curious. Perhaps they've never seen something like this before.
Wait till they see the illusions. I'm gonna start making illusions of tiny little versions of themselves that are gonna crawl all over their heads.
I love that so much. Roll me a performance check at advantage, please. Okay, 12. Yeah, as soon as you start playing and these begin to manifest, you see a look of wonder take each and every one of their small lizard folk faces. And they begin to dance around. A few of them are flailing about, trying to interact with these illusions that they see. You see a few of them are quite frightened, and they kind of back away and then realize it's harmless, and they start playing with it. Overall, the impression that everyone gets is that they are very entertained, and they seem to be loving Pole and the music.
Cool. Paul will sing some children's songs that he knows, and then he's going to hold up his hand to his ear and point at one of them and see if they can teach him a lizard folk children's song.
Okay. Most of the children seem confused by this, but one of them begins to sing. And it is a very throaty song. It is sung in Draconic. And if Finn is still there, actually, what does everyone want to do? So Pole is currently entertaining some children. You're able to explore this very, very large map. So you can move your tokens if you'd like to. We're going to just assume that the children are playing here in the throne room.
Look for Sarif.
Yes.
Okay. Finn, which
Yeah,
direction do
okay.
you want to go?
Yeah, Garen's gonna stick with KayBee to find Seraph.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably join along. Try and find Serve.
Okay. So Pole, Finn is not there to translate. The song that it seems to be singing seems to be along the lines of maybe like a lullaby or a children's song. Just kind of like the cadence and the easiness to it. And immediately all of the other children start to sing along too. So they all know this song. It is very lively, very energetic. And you see a few of them actually start dancing and stomping as they're singing.
All right, I'll try and learn how to do their little stomp thing. And I'll also pick up the chords from the melody and see if it works.
Okay.
And I'll try and even learn the words, but I'll do that last because that's going to be hard to mimic the sounds of those little lizard throats.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me another performance at advantage. Let's see if you can learn the baby lizard song.
Ooh.
Okay,
Wow.
23. Very
Wow.
good. Yeah, the tune is kind of like boop 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 boop
God
boop
damn.
boop boop boop. Yeah, it's
I hate it.
Cha-cha.
Baby lizard.
baby lizard. Yeah.
Love
love
you,
it.
Yagi. Love you, Yagi.
Yeah, so you master this very well, especially with the 23. You even start to pick up a few of the words. You don't know what they mean, but it's a naughty little song, and you can feel that the energy is quite mischievous.
I'll ask Finn about it later.
Okay, love it.
Mhm.
All right. So as the party is beginning to shuffle down the hallway here, you can see that this layer is very, very big. Seems as if you might have to just pick a direction and commit. And if you tell me if you want to try any
around
doors.
looking for something to do.
Okay.
Peek in this door.
Okay. None of the doors are going to be locked, so... All right. KayBee, you open a door. You can see that hanging from hooks set into the ceiling are 6 carcasses of various shapes and sizes. Against the south wall are 4 open barrels and a lidless wicker basket. Against the west wall are 3 large clay jars, a wooden chest, and a sealed barrel. Against the east wall is a wooden cage with a squawk a dozen irritable waterfowl.
Looks like the kitchen or the storeroom. Okay.
So the carcasses, because you looked at the trophies, I'm just going to go ahead and give this to you. You can see that they are various creatures. One looks like a manta ray. One's a giant frog. You see that there is a hobgoblin, 2 sharks, and a giant crayfish. You see one of the sharks has a mostly smashed armor plate embedded into its side.
Mm.
I think Arlen's going to eat while she's here.
Maybe you should offer to help cook. That'll help.
That would
Make a
probably
lot
be a really
peace.
good idea.
I could, but we gotta get them ready for war. I'm thinking, like, check out their weapons. Maybe I can work on their weapons. Anyways, let's keep going.
Both could be decent.
You do
Yeah,
see
I
a
was-
door on the northern side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just thinking you're a really good cook. Could really help lighten their opinion of us.
Do you think they like blue pepper spice?
Well, I'd like it as
I'm
long
not-
as it's not in my eyes.
Well,
So
We got-
go ahead.
We gotta find this guy.
yeah.
So Arlen, as you're kind of moving forward, you can hear the others bickering behind you. You come to a fork. You see that it continues around a bend. You see that there are a large set of doors to your left. You can see that there's another fork up ahead. And there's a door to your right that continues on.
Go into the big doors.
Okay. Go into the big doors. I love it. Okay. You throw the doors open. As you do, sweet perfume hangs in the air of this place of worship. At the far end, a lizard folk crouches before a stone altar. To each side of the altar are small lit burners, while, at its center, a candelabrum holds 4 lit candles. Above the altar, the south wall is decorated with a marine fresco of a lizard folk warrior brandishing a club. Blue and green drapes cover the east and western walls.
Sorry, wrong room. She closes the doors, and then we'll go over here.
You don't think that was Sarev?
She shrugs. I'm not necessarily looking for Sarev. I'm just
Oh, okay.
looking around. You all don't have to follow me.
Well, sticking together is not a bad idea.
Okay, you open the door and then you close the door. I love it. Okay. You see the tunnel. This is a very big map, y'all. You see the tunnel continue. Okay, so Arlen, as you go in this direction here, you enter a guard room. This small room here, there are 4 lizard folk standing guard here. There is no furniture except for a wooden bench. As you come up, they immediately begin to approach the door and sort of create like a barrier of their bodies. And they begin to speak to you. It's pretty evident that they don't want you continuing in this direction. They begin to speak in Draconic and seem quite agitated.
She nods, and then we'll turn around and walk the other direction.
You guys seen Sarev? Sarev?
As you say Sarev, one of them kind of cants their head and they gesture in the direction that you had come from.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So back in this direction. This direction.
Garen will start heading that way.
Okay.
Arlen's gonna go the other way.
Okay. I love it. It's very interesting when the party splits. Okay. So Arlen, you come up and you see that there is a door ahead of you. and then there seems to be a door to your south, and then a pathway up.
Okay, she's gonna look in this door first.
Okay. In that room, this open area features 6 floor-to-ceiling pillars that demarcate a central area bare of furniture. In this central area, the earth floor has been packed closer than elsewhere, as if by the passage of many feet. Several wooden benches stand near the north and south walls. A large mattress has been fixed into the center of each wall. Attached to it is a target dummy with a fish-like creature head on top of each one. Several lizard folk are practicing combat against one another, throwing javelins at the dummies, sparring, etc. A powerfully built and tall lizard folk female stands with the several heavily armed warriors. She observes the training through narrowed eyes. You can see that other lizard folk are standing near the leader. They are wearing a kelp-colored robe and holding a long, polished tooth.
How do they see me open the door and look at me weird, or what are they doing?
They turn to each other as they're looking at you, and they speak in Draconic, and then they kind of turn away from you.
I'm gonna hang in here. I step inside.
Okay. We'll come back to you. The others, you are at a fork here, one of which leads to another fork, and it continues in 2 different ways. Which way would you like to go?
Garen's gonna head south.
Should we do a 5-way party split?
You can
Yeah.
if you want. You know that you're relatively safe.
Yeah.
I'm staying by the translator.
Okay.
Yeah, Garen doesn't know he has a rival lizard folk in the area.
All right. Okay, you get to the fork. You can see that there are a number of small doors to your right, and then there's a door to your left here.
No, Garen's got enough spatial awareness that he probably realizes to the right is the area they've already been through or looked into. So he's gonna come down this way,
Okay.
gonna knock on the door and open it.
Okay. You see that these rooms are very, very small. Though they're not identical, they are very similar. You see that it is a bare cell-like room containing a plain table, a chair, a mattress, and a small wooden chest. It seems to be like a bedroom. More of a bedroom than like a prison cell.
Right. Just a very Spartan.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He'll move to the next room.
Okay.
And the next door.
Yeah, and you surmise that they're all quite similar.
Yep. And he's going to repeat, knock, and then poke his head in.
Yeah, some of these do have people in them. You find that a few of them are deep in study, rather looking at books, or seem to have a number of different trinkets in front of them. In one of them, someone is sleeping. In another one, they begin to bark at you in Draconic. Finn, they say something along the lines of, "Respect the privacy of these dwellings. Please leave. Close the door behind you."
I'm looking for Sarav.
Sariv. They gesture over to the direction where KayBee is. Sariv is one of our leaders. He will have his own room.
Thank you.
And I'm going to just assume that Finn is
Yeah, Finn's
translating all this.
Yeah.
Since he's here.
I'm here. I'm doing the translation.
All right. Then we continue on.
Okay. All right. So as you move into this direction here, pick a direction, left or right.
Left.
Okay. As you go into that room, it's a very big map, y'all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You see a wooden table set against the south wall featuring a wooden bowl of fruit. A wooden bench is against the north wall, and in the center of the room, a wooden chair faces the bench. You see that there are 3 lizard folk in robes here. They are currently reciting some kind of chant. If you see that the shamans, they immediately stand up and they begin to talk to the group of you in agitated tones. Finn, you can hear them saying stuff along the lines of, "Who are you? We're the gods! Attack them! You must be taken to our queen!" Kind of like along those lines. They are kind of making threatening gestures, but not drawing any weapons.
Finn?
I guess Finn will kind of come around hearing all of this, and he'll say in Draconic, he'll say, "The Queen approved us walking around here, and we're looking for." Why do names always escape? Sarav.
One of them says, "The minister is not here. You will find him on the other side of the camp."
Oh, okay. Thank you. I guess we go back where we came.
So, meanwhile, as this is going on, Pole, the children eventually, they begin to finish their song here, and they seem to be waiting for, you to do something new.
Okay. Well, I'll teach them a really fast dance, like a jig or a reel that we would do in the pub. Get them all spinning around. As I do a lot of loot picking,
Mm-hmm.
jumping up and down, and I'll just make an illusion of little teeny human people who do this dance with each other,
Okay.
so they can see how it's done.
Yeah, for the most part, they seem quite uncertain. There's one that's very enthusiastic and kind of just does it very poorly and just throws themselves into it. You see that there are a number of adults that are gathering, and they're kind of lingering in the shadows, kind of at a distance, watching you and just watching what you're doing. And the children seem to warm up after a little bit of persistence, and you see 2 of them beginning to mimic the little tiny human illusions, and they're doing the dance, but very poorly.
Cool. Well, that's as good as can be expected from your first time. So I feel great that we're exchanging some culture here, and yeah, I'll just keep doing this until they get bored of that, and if it gets to a point where they're getting tired out, I'll teach them a lullaby as well.
Okay.
Let them. I don't know if they just sleep in the hall or what around
Mhm.
here, but I'm sure someone will tell me at some point.
Okay. Yep. So we'll have you continuing to do that, and the rest of the party is down. We'll go to Arlen now. Arlen, this is clearly some kind of training ground here that you're at, or a drill hall. You see that they have a leader, and she is currently overseeing all of this. And as you kind of enter in and loiter, she moves to stand in front of you, and she looks directly at you and doesn't say anything.
Arlen kind of stands up straight, returns the gaze, and will look towards like 2 lizard folk sparring, and will like kind of head nod towards them as if to say, "You want to spar?"
Okay. She looks over. She seems to immediately understand what you're trying to say. She turns her head and she barks a few orders at the other people in the room, and immediately the center of the room clears. And you see her gesturing to a number of weapons that are lashed to the walls. They seem to be of poor to decent quality.
Okay.
There's like a few clubs, there's a few spears, a few scimitars.
I'll grab. I don't think it would be a good idea to just summon my club back. So she'll grab just like a spear.
Excellent. You see that the woman, she also reaches for a spear, and she stands opposite of you. We're gonna go ahead and do a contested roll here to kind of montage.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to do to bolster or cheat or try to like earn yourself better favor, or do you want to play clean?
Ooh. I think she'll use Hexblade's curse.
Okay.
Which will do a little bit, but not too much. And other than that, she'll play fair.
Okay.
She's not going to use spells or anything.
Okay, so what does this look like as you cast this? Or what does it feel like if it doesn't really have a visual element?
I think maybe just this lizard folk senses like a little bit of dread coming from Arlen as they face off. But other than that, there's no like visual effect.
Okay. Excellent. So Hexblade's curse, they're cursed for 1 minute. You gain the following benefits. Bonus damage. Crit on a 19 or 20 when you hit them. If they die, you regain hit points equal to your charisma modifier plus warlock level. Okay, great. You can see that she seems to try to shake something off as the effects take hold, and she will try to challenge you. Okay, you don't have any blessings, you don't have any nat 20s. I don't have any nat 20s. Ugh. Okay, go ahead and roll me an attack roll.
Okay. This is using strength, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Rolled a 6.
I am proficient at least, so that's a bonus. So this will be +3.
Okay.
15.
All right. You absolutely hit. Hold on. I'm gonna actually use my blessing. Oh God. Okay. Tell me. Tell me what this looks like as you absolutely humiliate the drill sergeant here.
So I think her goal is not to humiliate her.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the campaign, before Arlen got fancy cursed weapons and everything went downhill real quick, Arlen actually used a spear. And so I think she wields it very comfortably and it's very obvious that she's well practiced with it. She doesn't have a lot of strength to her blows, but she's pretty accurate with it and is controlling it well. She's not actually striking the lizard folk and to like hurt her or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like little like touch your neck sort of thing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's letting the lizard folk get like some close hits as well so that it doesn't look completely embarrassing in front of these people that she's trying to teach. And yeah.
Okay.
But it is clear that Arlen is like doing better overall.
Okay. Excellent. So while that's going on, we resume over here in the shaman quarters. So you have been told, KayBee, Garen, and Finn, that you want to go to the other side of the camp.
All right. Looks like I led us in the wrong direction. KB, why don't you take the lead?
Reverse march.
So as we walk through this space, we get a sense of the way they live, the
Mhm.
furnishings, the craft.
Mhm.
Do they seem to be well developed? Do they have objects of art? Do they decorate their quarters?
They do. You see that, well, some of the rooms are kind of Spartan, but they are not without treasure and they are not without art and culture here. You see in this particular room where the three shamans are pretty obviously against outsiders and just actively wanting you to get hurt. You see that they are adorning necklaces with pearls and gold. You see in this particular room that there seems to be an impression on the wall that was carved into the stone. It is a depiction of some kind of lizard folk deity. You are unfamiliar with them. And in the smaller rooms that you had just been in, these little bedrooms, they were very Spartan. They didn't really have any art in them.
Okay.
You see that like the walls are either carved stone, which have history and probably some kind of like fantastical depictions of something. There's like wooden beams that support the tunnels above you. So this is a home, and they have been here for a long time.
Were the symbols of their god or gods, were they recognizable?
Yes, in the sense of like they are very well defined, but you're unfamiliar with them. They're strange to you.
Okay.
I guess we're going back the other way.
Alrighty.
Yep.
Feel free to zoom your characters wherever you want to go.
Well, where do you want to go?
Well, yeah, I think back up this way is good.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when you get to about here, you can hear Pole playing music. And you see that there is actually quite a bit of a crowd gathered here. You see that the children are starting to get tired, and Pole is starting to play a lullaby. You see that adults are kind of leaning up against the wall watching Pole, and as you're kind of coming up, they turn to watch you. It's
So
relatively quiet here.
how is Pole doing? Does Pole seem to be worn out or distressed or maybe uncomfortable, or does he have performance block?
No, he's having a great time. This is super fun. He wishes he could do this all day, every day.
Nice.
But Penny Sprinkle is bored and annoyed.
Does the group want to say anything to Pole? Do you want to keep going? What do you want to do here?
I think Garen would wave to Pole and then continue on.
Pole will actually finish up his song. It looks like some of the kids are drifting off, and he'll wave to them and start walking towards his companions.
Okay, sounds perfect. You see that a few of the children kind of trail after you, and they're following. But for the most part, they seem to kind of wander off and do their own thing. Okay, so Pole will join the party. Yeah, you see that there are just tunnels upon tunnels here. They wind and twist.
Arif.
So if I see anybody in the hallway, I'll be like,
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you point me towards Zareth?
Yeah, so as you're kind of entering this area here, you get the sense that this might be more living quarters. You see that the people in this area seem to be less dressed like shamans and dressed more like guards. There are a lot more guards here. As soon as you say Sariv, one of them begins to point in the direction you came, and they say, you want to go to the other side of the camp.
Okay. Who's our pathfinder?
Oh, you guys haven't found Sarov yet?
No.
No, we were told he was that way further down, but apparently he's moved up to this way. So
Oh,
It's
it's
over here, like, I've already won the heart of the nation, and you all didn't find the guy yet.
Yeah. Everybody keeps telling us other side of the camp.
Oh, he's
Maybe it-
probably busy, gets around, you know?
He
He
may be a
probably does run
mythological
around, yeah.
figure.
Yeah. So, there's still some path past where we left Arlen, or we can continue up this way, I think.
You say as KayBee just
KayBee is already
continues
scuttling
scurrying.
off.
Sarif.
What's down this way? Oh, that's a door right there. Okay.
That is a door, yes.
Yeah, we're going to the other side of the camp, wherever that is.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me just start mass revealing tunnels here.
Yeah. Even once we've found them, after we've had some time to relax, Garen's going to scout the entire place.
Okay, so there's a door here.
Do we see any people in the hallway?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
So-
As you can imagine, there are a lot of notes I have to kind of read as we're moving along.
So Pull, how did the singing go? I know that I probably should have waited to translate some of the lyrics for you. I apologize, but
Oh, I learned a new song from the kids.
Yeah?
I'll start playing it for you. What does this mean?
can I understand his trying to translate what it's saying?
Pull. Roll me a performance check. Just at normal. Okay, 14. So Pull absolutely butchers the pronunciation, and you only get like 1 or 2 words out of it. The 1 or 2 words that you get are
Can it be baby do?
baby do. One of them is definitely baby. The other word is going to be poop.
Okay.
Oh
Baby,
no.
you were singing to them baby poop.
Well, no, they taught that one to me. I figured there was poop in there somewhere. Kids love poop.
Yeah, they kind of do. Okay.
Just the knowing nods from everyone on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so. Okay.
KayBee just track stars down the hallway.
Yeah.
Right? I was too busy
Well,
laughing.
I am
Couldn't see.
riding Poke, and Poke's got a 40 move.
Well, sounds like you kept them entertained, so good on you.
Thank you. Yeah, their parents were watching too, so hopefully we make some inroads tonight when they all tell their mums and dads about us.
Yeah, hopefully we can get the hope we can get them to like us, and in turn the parents will like us as well.
Sarif.
Arlen might recognize this part.
As the group of you are starting to head in this direction, when you hit this fork here, you can hear the sounds of combat off to your right. So essentially you can hear the sparring as Arlen is sparring.
Oh,
Somebody's fighting.
And then you hear the sound of water to your left.
Oh, I hear Arlen laughing. She's having a good time.
okay. All right then. I'll take your word for it, and I'll go over by the water.
Okay, as you're by the water here. Ooh, okay, hold on.
Never mind, I go away from the water.
Okay. You see this flooded natural rock cavern is roughly circular and about 70 feet in diameter. A bloom of colorful blue and green algae covers the surface of the water, obscuring the depths. From a stone path, narrow stairs descend into the water from this path.
Oh, so these are stairs, each of these?
Yeah, that go down into the water.
Okay, gotcha. Do we see lizard folk here?
You do not. You see that there's something disturbing the water, but you cannot see through the water here at this particular pool.
Do my calls to Sarev, do they echo in the chamber?
Yes.
Sarev! I don't know.
Neither do I.
I'm unsure too. It seems like no matter what way we go, it seems like it's not the right way.
He must be a VIP.
Well, Finn, didn't you say the shaman called him a minister?
Yeah, and I guess Finn will start trying to call out as politely as possible, Minister, sir.
I just gotta say, I'm gonna laugh a lot if Sarev is the guy in like the temple place that we ran across at the very beginning.
That's exactly where my brain just went to.
The one where you just open the door, you're like, oh, sorry, and you close the door.
Yep, that one.
That's exactly where my brain went to.
I don't know. You didn't give him a chance to talk. So as the group of you are kind of looking around here, can I get perception checks from everyone but Arlen?
Alrighty.
That's a 17 from KayBee, a 13 from Garen, 13 from Pole, and a 5 from Finn. KayBee, as you call out for Sarev, you don't hear anything in response, but you do see a small head beginning to poke out from the water. And this is who you see.
Ooh,
It's a pretty girl.
it is.
Are merfolk, are they fae?
So you can't really... Oh, are Merfolk fae? I don't think so. Let me double check.
No.
No,
they're not. I
they're
don't think they
humanoids. So you see this blue head kind of beginning to peek up. You don't see above the tip of their nose, but you see these golden eyes peering, and there's some kelp kind of draped over their head, and you see the frills of their head fins. They kind of like look up, and they're kind of watching the group of you coyly from the shadows.
Immediately, I kind of look down and I begin to blush. My cheeks glow bright red.
And as
Garen was apparently looking back the opposite direction and not even looking at the water.
mm-hmm.
We'll go with that.
KayBee, as you like kind of look away, the head slips underneath the water and disappears.
Did you guys see that pretty girl?
Wait, what?
What?
Pretty go? No.
It was a real pretty girl.
Where?
She was in the water. She was swimming.
Is she okay?
I think so. She looked like a water person.
And actually, could I recognize her? What type
Like
of
a
person? What kind of
sea
person
elf?
she was?
So she does not look like a sea elf. Can I get a history check from you, KayBee?
Yes. How about
20. Okay. Yes, you have seen Merfolk before.
She has a distinctive look of merfolk. She had those fins and stuff on her head. She was real pretty. A turquoise like color.
Oh, I know a song about merfolk. It's from the point of view of sailor.
Oh.
It's probably a little bit on the,
Not so
rough
flattering
side.
side.
Yeah.
A
I-
raunchy
really-
tune begins to fill the cavern.
With that 20 for history, do I have a sense of the merfolk people's political alliances, affiliations, their friendships? I know I don't know much about lizard folk,
Uh-huh.
but since I've been around the coastal area, been in Grodsul and other places, what do I know? Are they allied with friendly races?
So I would say even with a 20, you don't really know much about like the politics that they might have. You might have read texts about them, but you don't know like what the living, breathing like affiliations might be as far as like how they are now. You know that Merfolk tribes and kingdoms vary quite a bit. There are a lot of different cultures that are folded in them, so it's kind of hard to tell just by a quick glance and not knowing like the name of them or anything like that. You know that some Merfolk, like, they work quite in harmony with people who live on the land. There are some that live like very deep into the ocean, and they rarely ever deal with anyone who dwells on land. So like it's just a really mixed bag.
I wish Arlen was here. I bet you Arlen would know. It could be like a spy, or maybe they could be a friend. You know,
Maybe.
she sure was pretty.
Take a good look and see, do I see any disturbance on the water?
Go ahead and roll me a perception check. So the water here is quite murky. With a 14. You can see that the algae covers the surface of the water, and it's really hard to see below. You can definitely tell there's things moving under the surface.
She was right there. I don't know. Is that her? I can't tell.
I don't know. I think Garen would take a look at the water at this point.
Okay, go ahead and roll perception. 24. Okay, you're able to kind of peer through and identify that there are 4 merfolk down there.
Oh,
Oh,
looks like there's 4 of them, you guys.
4 of them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't even know what language they speak to try to talk to them.
Bet you Captain would know.
Probably Aquin. That's what lots of people speak down there in the water.
That would make
You
sense.
know it? Do you know it, Paul?
No, but I knew a guy. He said he was a sailor, and he told me that if you learn to speak Aquin, you can talk to just about anyone under the water. But he didn't teach me how to speak it.
Hmm.
That's unfortunate.
Very much.
Well,
Oh.
perhaps we should find Servan to A, be able to talk to people, and B, let them know there's merfolk in the water.
I think so.
I saw that flash up, Stella.
I hit the wrong button. I was trying to
Okay.
reveal more. There.
I think I might know where to look. Come on,
Yeah.
everyone.
Okay,
Right.
Following you.
I'm gonna follow Garen.
Okay.
Follow-
Paul, you say wait.
No, I didn't say wait.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Cool. All right. So as the group of you are passing by this room where Arlen is, you happen to see Arlen defeats the drill master here. You see her bow deeply to you, Arlen. And there's a hushed murmur among all of her students here as they are kind of bowing their head towards you as well.
She'll return the bow, and will return the spear to the wall, and then is gonna like motion for them to keep going. And is just gonna hang and watch.
The woman begins to say something to you, but it looks like KayBee and Pol are the only ones that hang around, so you don't understand anything she's saying. And then she turns away, and she continues to instruct the others.
Paul yell out, Finn! They're talking in Draconic!
Hey,
Well,
Arlen.
it's
Oh,
like,
oh bloody hell!
What's-
Okay.
what do
There's
you need? Did you find the guy?
no. There's a water place over there though, and there's merfolk in the water.
Oh,
You
I
know,
know merfolk.
merfolk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wanted translation?
No, you're fine. Don't worry.
Okay. And he'll go back to Garen.
Are you? I mean, the merfolk are probably working with the lizard folk.
I guess. I
They-
don't know.
They had, if it's the same water region that I went in the other night, then it's very heavily guarded, and they probably already know that those merfolk are there. Plus, I don't want to say most, but a lot of creatures from the water don't like Sahagin, so it would make sense that they're allied.
So what are you doing? Are you busy?
Oh, I was just sparring.
Did you teach them a lesson?
I won, so I suppose.
Yay, Captain Arlen!
Of course, I don't lose.
I flourish my cloak a little bit.
So, where are you in your search?
We went all around. Now we're going back and doing it again.
Yeah, we're trying to find something, and Garen seems to be really onto something. Kind of like when a bloodhound knows exactly where to go. He seems to kind of zoom right off, and when he does that, usually he is on the trail. So
Counted 62 individual lizard folk people, to include 22 children. One really old guy.
he mostly entertained the pole over here was singing songs to the children apparently, and did very well.
All right. So. All right, fine. And she'll leave the room. She's like, all right, let's go find this person
Okay.
since you're having a hard time.
So y'all head back to the temple here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And would open the door and
Okay. As you open the door, you see again the temple, and there is a single lizard folk here crouching before the stone altar. They stand up and they turn towards you and they look at you.
I'm looking for Sarav. Are you him?
Finn, as you translate, he says to you, welcome to the temple of Semuyana.
Darn, I thought you were going to say senpai.
No.
Aww.
Missed opportunity.
Dang it. Wizards of the Coast.
Do I recognize that name of that god?
Roll me a religion check.
Can I roll a religion check?
Yes, anyone can roll. It's gonna be a high DC.
Can I roll at advantage since I know water things?
No. Okay. That's a 20 from KayBee, an 18 from Garen, 15 from from Pole, 21 from Arlen, and a 7 from Finn. Okay. KayBee and Arlen, I don't know how you know this, but you know that Semuyana is the lizard folk deity of survival and propagation. You know that he is a relatively neutral god. His depiction is a very large lizard man with a strong and agile body, and he wields a club studded with razor-sharp fragments of shells.
And look at that statue.
Real nice. So this person spoke that in common or in Draconic?
Draconic.
Oh.
Right.
So you would know that a lot of lizard folk worship Semuyana.
Is that like the leader of the pantheon?
I would say, yeah, one of the leaders of their pantheon.
Okay.
Alright, do you know where Sariv is?
The priest gestures to the direction you had come from, and they say, Sariv is the minister of our people. If you would like, I can take you to him.
Stella, like this
That would be
taking too long.
Yes. Would be appreciated. You are the first to offer.
He chuckles a bit as you translate all of this, and he says, Our home is expansive and we have very many people here. You must forgive them. We recently went under an attack and we lost quite a few people, so they are on edge at the moment.
Yes, and that would
Mhm.
put a people on edge, and I'm sure it does not help that we are outsiders.
Well, being an outsider is not an issue, but we are very low on trust at the moment. He begins to guide you over here. Across the hall from where Arlen was.
Are you fucking kidding?
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like that time you're at the hardware store looking for that one thing and you walk by it 10 times before asking for help. I'm like, oh yeah, it's right here.
Yeah.
Yes, the hardware store. Comparison we can all relate to.
You see him kind of gesture to the door in front of you, and he says, "This is the minister's quarters. I will leave you. I must return to the temple. Well, good luck, and please exercise patience with my people."
We shall. Thank you
Very
for
good,
all your
thank
help.
Very good. And he bows his head and he begins to waddle his way back towards the temple.
Garen would bow his head in return.
Knock on the door lightly.
Okay. As you knock on the door, you hear a voice come from within, and Finn, it says, "Open."
The voice said open.
Reach up and turn the handle.
Okay.
Push it open.
This is a small, comfortable room. In the center is a circular wooden table on which lies a closed book. To one side of the table, an aged lizardfolk occupies a crudely upholstered armchair. To one side, the plain wooden chair sits empty. In the northwest corner, a brass tripod. I want some. A brass tripod supports a brass bowl filled with hot coals. The room is warm and smoky. I would like to introduce you to Sarith.
What a
Look at
boy.
look at that boy.
He looks so cool.
Greetings, wise one.
As you enter in, his eyes sparkle and he looks at you, KayBee, and he says in common, "Welcome. Welcome. Please enter and make yourselves comfortable." And that is where we are going to take our break. Because
Yay!
I want some snacks. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Please grab a snack, grab a drink, do a stretch, and we will be back here soon. So, as the group of you begin to file into this room, unaccompanied, you meet Sarith. You see that this aged lizard folk man is currently reading a scroll. He leans back in his chair as he looks over the group of you, and he says, in common, you can just assume that he's speaking common from now on. He says, "I would like to know who you are, where you're from, and who sent you. I know you are not ambassadors. I made no arrangements with humans."
Arlen
Finn-
nudges Finn.
Yeah, Finn will step up and he'll explain that he's from Saltmarsh. He was brought from the council to sort of investigate because of the Sikagan situation, and that he was brought in to sort of see how the situation was and see how things were supposed to sort of just see how the land was, and someone had spotted us and brought us in, but tell him that we talked to the queen, we are in peace, and she's giving us a test to make sure that we are behaving.
Ah, I see.
So
Very
all,
well.
all of that good stuff, yes.
Okay, so you mentioned like
I mentioned everything.
everything. Okay.
Just I'm not gonna hide anything from him.
You see him chuckle lightly to himself, and he says, "Ah, yes. I was the one who arranged for the purchase of the weapons of the Sea Ghost, which seems now to be in your care as the Sea Lily."
Yes, it is. Yes.
Very good. That is good to know. I will relay this to our queen.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it has been my desire to forge an alliance between anyone and everyone who can stand against the Sahagin. It has not really been a priority of ours to try to reach out to Saltmarsh. We have surmised that the people there do not really wish to meddle with our affairs. We are quite removed from Saltmarsh in this location.
Mm-hmm.
But you being here is a sign of good faith. And as my queen has suggested, I think that in order to win the people and show that we can trust you, we do want to make sure that you are not in league with the Sahagin.
Oh no, definitely not. I let the I don't know if Finn had brought this up, but Finn will also bring up the fact that on that same ship, he's the one who let them go, let them get their weapons and bring them, and is in agreement that they're probably not the best kind of people.
Yeah, he nods and he says, yes, they have told me all about their encounter with you. I do remember this. Well, I do think that there are a number of ways that you as a group can go about trying to earn the favor of the people. You can, of course, donate items if you like, to go with a more material route. Any way to support the people is certainly an effective one. Or you can go about and see if anyone needs any assistance, or express kindness.
Okay.
Show that you care. If you need me to translate, you see him kind of stand up, and the thing about him, though, is you can see that from a very quick glance that he is quite elderly. You can see that his eyes are a little glossy and that he trembles a bit as he moves. He grabs a cane nearby and he says, I can translate for you if you like. However, it might behoove you to go about without my supervision.
Well, I've been going about translating as best I can for everyone. If it helps, I can continue to do so for you, and possibly only come to you or bring anything to your attention that's of very importance or such.
Well, I am here to help however you like it. Do any of you have questions? Looks over the group.
Hi, I'm KayBee. Actually, I was kind of wondering, you can tell us how we can help you. Your people need help with like repairing their weapons, or, I mean, what worries you the most? Defense? You had shipped some weapons in. Do you need more weapons?
Oh, we can always benefit from more weapons. My prime concern is if we need more friends. So the way you can help me is, honestly, to have the people trust you. If I can find a friend in you, then that would satisfy me.
So as I'm talking to him, I'm glancing down at his scroll, and you mentioned a closed book.
Mm-hmm.
Between the items there on the table and maybe anything he's wearing, do I get the sense that he's a spellcaster?
Do
I see wizardly writings or arcane symbols on him?
You see that he's currently wearing a very fine necklace. It is a gold chain. Your keen eye can tell that it's probably worth like 200 gold. It is very, very nice. The book itself, okay, the scroll, you'd have to roll me a perception check to read the scroll.
Did you say investigation?
Perception. You must be swift with your eyeballs.
Nope.
6. Nope. Okay.
You do have a blessing, KayBee.
And you do have a nat 20.
Those are precious to me.
My
Okay.
precious.
The book on the table is written in common, and you can read the title. It says Power Politics by Abel Mackey.
Oh, I see you got the 3rd edition.
Yes, I have been trying to the best of my effect to encourage diplomacy and alliances.
Do your people have like trade goods? Maybe form a mercantile relationship?
Oh, absolutely. We are fine and crafty people.
Yes, that would be an important way to forge an alliance with Saltmarsh.
Have something that they want.
Mm.
I've worked in business and mining and what have you for a couple 100 years. Yeah, maybe we can talk about that. I can help you figure out what you've got they want.
Yes, I am interested in this.
And also another thing that would help is if you can rationalize how aiding you against the Sahagin would be beneficial to them. Especially if there is any way that they are a threat. I know that Firebrand and perhaps another member might be swayed by the need for security. Others, it will be whatever aid you can give them in return.
Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check. He strokes his lizard folk scaly marshy beard.
Can that be with advantage since KayBee was talking to him?
Yes.
Also?
Yes.
So
And
10.
you needed a 10, so that is very good. He squints and looks at the group of you and he says, well, I am of the belief that you are not in league with the Sahagin. Perhaps you will need to persuade the people, but I will tell you that we do plan on attacking a Sahagin lair sometime soon. We have in alliance with us the Merfolk, a group of Merfolk, a group of Koalint, and a group of Lokatha.
Yes, we saw the Merfolk in the underground or the cave lake.
Ah, yes, that is the pools are
Yes.
serving as temporary homes for our ambassadors and liaisons.
I see.
Have you reached out to the sea elves? Oceanus was one of the ones we met, and he's really not a fan of those Sahagin fellows.
Oh, we have not. Perhaps in time we could. He looks thoughtful. But as you can see, we are building our friends one at a time.
Well, I hope we'll be your next friends.
I hope so too, young one.
Yes, definitely manage one task at a time. Take on too much, you overwhelm yourself.
You too are wise.
I hope
Well-
someday to be as wise as you.
He chuckles lightly.
I've been I've been learning some of the songs the children are singing, trying to help out so that they keep out of trouble. And it's been pretty fun, but I'm having a hard time picking them up. I was wondering, do you have any full-time musicians here who could help teach me the local children's and folk songs?
Of course, yes, we do.
If you could point me their way and introduce me, and help me make an early friendship, that would be I would appreciate that very much.
Yes. I would certainly love to do so. And then he pulls out a map. Of the camp.
That's handy.
And he will show you everything. Reveal all of your secrets. Okay, cool.
Wow.
Human sacrifice venue.
No.
What?
It's all been a ploy.
Oh no, you weren't supposed to see that.
But I'm not a human.
He says, you may wish to seek out our performers in the banquet hall. And he'll gesture to this very, very large, this large room kind of towards the very entrance. Is there anything else that I can help you with?
If you have a master of arms, I'd like to see if I can help repair your weapons. Get them in tip-top shape.
Yes, you wish to see our drill master. And he points over into the room that Arlen was in. So room 40 over here. What of you? What do you want to do for my people? He gestures to Garen.
I think I would aid KayBee.
Very good. And you, gesturing to Finn.
Well, honestly, since I'm the one that can speak your tongue, I want to go around as much as possible, or go around to, I guess, important spots and just tell everyone of our good faith and not to worry anyone. Whatever it is I have to do, whether it is help them move something or whatever the case, I just want to show that I'm doing something well. And it seems like half and half. Me being able to speak Draconic has been helpful, so I'm hoping to lean it more towards good. But,
Very good. Perhaps I can have you... Perhaps I can have you tend to our young in the nursery.
Oh, okay.
Speak to the young, impressionable minds of our people.
Sure.
Make sure you button your pockets.
Oh, they like to grab pockets, do they? That sounds like
Oh,
kids
yes.
to me. Yes.
They are little pocket dwellers, they are.
Yes, one's already made off with one of my spare bowstrings.
Oh, they will do that. They are relentless. This next generation will be filled with powerful and determined warriors. That much is certain.
I can tell. Sure. Yeah, I'll go. I'll go and talk to the children.
All right. You will wish to seek out this very far room to the easternmost side. This is where you will find the nursery.
Ah, yes. Room
Well,
24 it is. Okay.
good luck. And if you have any questions,
Thank you, sir.
come find me.
Oh, which room is that? Are your musicians in?
Oh, that will be in the banquet hall here. Number 10.
Okay. Well, I suppose I'll go ahead and start upon my mission. I appreciate your hospitality, and I hope that this will be the start of a really good relationship between us and your people.
Yes, I hope so
Yeah.
too.
Although, Finn, before you go,
Yes.
could you help KayBee and I negotiate helping with some weapon repair?
Where is? Yeah, sure.
I'm also going to help with their training. Seems like they
Yeah.
might need that. So, you can help me say that too.
Okay.
Oh, and when you've done that, can you give me an introduction to the musicians in the banquet hall?
As
Papa
you,
Finn.
as all of you say this, Sarv kind of chuckles lightly, and he says, "Well, it seems that you are very, very useful to your friends. I think I see a bit of myself in you. Here, have a gift." You
Oh.
see him get up and he reaches over to one of the shelves in his room. He hands you something shiny. You have drawn the sun card.
Yay!
You get
a
an
good card.
item. Well,
Yay.
well.
Wow, I like items.
He hands you a silver implement that's shaped like a tree branch and is strung with small golden bells.
Hmm.
Ooh.
This is called
Ooh.
a bell branch. You have to be a druid or a warlock to use this one.
And I am certainly none of those things.
Well, I'm sure you'll figure out what you're gonna use this
A
for.
level of warlock for everybody.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Just
You
you
need
know,
a
call
level
out
of
to an
warlock?
entity.
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
Bell branch. I don't like how this is formatted like this, but there you go. Show to players. Okay. Bell branch.
Bill Brand.
It has 3 charges. You can use it as spellcasting focus while you're holding it. It regains 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn. You can use a bonus action to expend 1 charge to detect the presence of aberrations, celestials, constructs, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead within 60 feet of you. It will ring softly, their tone indicating what creature is present. As an action, you can expend 1 charge for protection against good or evil.
Well, let's see if I can work this with me. I'm not a druid or a warlock, but I do have some spells that I'd use. So.
Yeah, just a little something I found during my adventuring days.
I mean, anything to help protect and detect stuff. I'm all for. So I'll definitely keep it. Thank you.
My pleasure. Good luck.
Thank you.
He kicks you all out of his room. Just kidding. He,
Wow.
I shake his hand.
Thank you very much.
oh, he shakes your hand too, and seems a bit confused and excited at the gesture. Is
All
this
right.
is this how your people say goodbye?
This is how we say thank you and well met, and you got a deal.
Oh,
That's,
And,
uh,
and glad to know you.
Our human handshakes mean a lot of things.
Yes, I guess the best way to sum it up is it's a gesture of respect.
It is, yes, just a
No.
respect in any means of yes.
this is how my people say it. And with KayBee, he'll gently lower his head and he'll touch foreheads with you.
When he does, I
Oh.
close my eyes slowly. That was cool.
Good luck. Goodbye.
Thank you. All right, which one of you is closest?
+3. It's right
Across the hall.
here.
Okay, I'm going to that one first then. It's right here. Who needs my help in 40?
Okay. So as you
Advocate's
enter the drill hall again, you find that the room is mostly clear in the middle. People seem to be kind of taking a break at the moment, kind of off to the sides, drinking water from bowls and pitchers. And you see the drill master is not here.
Oh, lovely.
And there isn't a lizard folk who immediately wants to fight Garen?
No, they all like look at Arlen and they bow the head just slightly. They seem to recognize her.
She bows in return.
Yeah. But none of them like get up to do anything. They're currently resting.
It looks like we gotta run all over the place looking for another lizard folk.
Oh, well, fun.
Then
Okay.
ask them where their trainer went. Instructor.
What was the name of the trainer again, Garen?
I
I don't think we learned her name.
No.
Oh, okay.
As you kind of like translate all of this, a young woman says to you, she says, Korth has gone for lunch. Korth. Drill master. Korth has gone for lunch. However, is there anything that we can help you with? What is it that you are here for?
Tell her we're here to help with the weapons. We're gonna repair weapons, and Captain's gonna do training.
So as you say all of that, she just points at the walls of weapons in the room.
I go get busy.
Okay.
Garen's right there with him.
Okay. So how are you going about repairing weapons?
So first is going to be an inspection, just to look them over to see what kind of shape they're in. For minor dings, dents, and scratches and cracks, I'm going to use a mending spell, a mending cantrip, because I can just spam that repeatedly. I'll also bring out a sharpening stone, put an edge on items, and if it looks like they need cleaning, I'm going to use prestidigitation to clean them. I want to look over the weapons, give them a really good inspection and preventive maintenance. If something needs to go to the forge, then we'll set that aside and we'll find out if they get a forge.
Okay. Sounds good. Garen, what about you?
Garen's first task would be about cleaning them off so that it's easier to tell what shape they're in. And as soon as he sees KayBee use prestidigitation, he'd call him a cheater. And then ask him to take care of the rest, and he does the inspecting and sharpening.
Okay.
Well, KayBee does that, and then, yeah, anything that needs intense repair, look for a forge later.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me. Do you have blacksmithing tools? Or roll me your tools at advantage, KayBee.
I can do that. Surprised I don't have my smith tools on here, but that would be probably same as carpenter's tools. Let me roll
26.
That.
Very
Nice.
good. Yeah. Okay, 26. Yeah, with the combined effort of you two, you definitely managed to repair and maintain these to a significant degree. You improve the quality of their stock by a massive amount. There are a few that are definitely beyond repair. There are a few that definitely need some love from a forge. And you learn from those that are kind of watching, that are kind of getting up to help and just get involved, that there is no forge here.
Okay, then I may take a look later for fuel resources and make an elementary forge with stone and coal and things like that. But that'll be, I don't know how long we're going to stay here.
Okay, sounds good. So that is going to be your project. That will definitely take up quite a bit of time. This will take hours of work. Pole, Finn, and Arlen, what do you want to do next as the two of them stay here to do the work?
Banquet
Arlen's
hall's just
staying
over
in-
here.
Wait, what? Okay. All right, banquet hall it is.
Okay, Arlen, what did you want to do?
Arlen's staying and is gonna train the people once they're done with their lunch break.
Okay, sounds good. As you go into the banquet hall, you see that there are 5 unarmed lizard folk preparing this area for a feast, setting tables with wood and stone utensils. You see that there are several long tables placed end to end at the center of the hall here, with wooden benches running along each side. At the south end of the tables is a large wooden chair. 4 slightly smaller chairs flank it, 2 on each side facing the table. Placed on the tables are earthenware pots, jars, plates, cups, 5 drinking mugs, and woven baskets. Against the east and west walls are tall wooden cupboards. You see that they're among the people that are currently setting up the room. One of them seems to have a drum slung on their hip.
Let's talk to that guy or gal. I can't tell. Over there.
As you come up, the bard lifts up their head and they say, what do you want from me in Draconic?
What do you want from them?
I would like to share songs, learn some songs and help out with their entertainment, especially the children's songs and folk songs of their people.
Okay. Finn will say back in Draconic, he will say he wants to learn folk tale songs, children's songs. He would like to be somewhat of a grand entertainer for everyone here.
You see, the lizard folk doesn't seem particularly impressed. They're looking pull up and down, and they kind of put one of their hands on their hips. And they say to you, Finn, in Draconic, this child here wants to sing songs to my people. About what?
He wants to learn your folks' tales, your children's songs, and sing it to the children. He earlier.
Why does he need to learn songs that I can sing myself?
Well, he can't speak Draconic like I can, I guess. So he feels like if he just speaks Common, it's not going to come across that well. That's my best guess, anyway. And then he'll turn back to Pole and say that exact same thing in Common. Is that true?
Well, yeah, and also, she plays the drum, I play the lute. We could get together and we could harmonize and play in synchronicity and make even better songs. And you can tell her that.
Yeah.
I hope there's a word for that.
Yes, there certainly is. So, synchronicity is the word he'd like to use, but he said that he wants to. You play the drums. He plays the lute. He feels like there could be sort of like a kinship, a band of sorts together, sort of like you play one instrument, he plays the other.
Go ahead and roll me persuasion at advantage, Finn.
Oh boy, where's my thing? Persuasion. Yes.
Okay, 13. She seems kind of unsure.
Could I use my reroll?
If you want, yeah. You'll take the first one if you use your reroll.
Okay.
You don't get 2 free ones.
Okay, so wait. That means I would get
roll
the next
persuasion
roll.
again, and then we take the first roll. Okay. So 13 is still the highest. So she says, "Well, my name is Mirik. And I suppose we can make some music together, but I don't know how much I'm going to learn from him, and I don't know how much he's going to learn from me."
Yeah.
And you see her beginning to like move into kind of a clear area here in the banquet hall. She pulls her drums in front of her and sits down.
Okay. I think that she wants to. I'm gonna stay here for a minute. With you, Paul, just so that I can help maybe translate some stuff back and forth and see if we can get a better harmonization going before I head off to my thing.
Oh, thanks, Finn.
Yeah, I figured
You're
it'd be
a
a little
pal.
easier. I try.
So you do find that Mirik is a little bit icy. She doesn't seem to warm up quite so easily to the idea of it. But she
Well,
does...
I mean, lizards are cold-blooded.
Wow.
She thanks.
You're welcome.
She does start to kind of go through notes with you. You see that she is quite patient, and if you ever get something wrong, there's no concealing a scowl or a disappointed sound. But she repeats it until you get it.
That's good. That's how I always learn.
How is your demeanor through this, as she is kind of being a bit of a rough teacher here?
Oh, I've only ever had rough teachers in my life, so I'm pretty used to it. So yeah, Paul will be happy about it. He's happy to meet a fellow musician who wants to work with him, even though she doesn't really. So he's gonna make the most of it and try his best and be very attentive and not try to overshadow her in any way. Make sure that she's sort of center stage and he's back up, and there won't be any jealousy or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, and Finn hanging out for a little longer does actually seem to benefit you, because there are a few times where she gets so frustrated with you that she turns and she just starts complaining to Finn in a way that just isn't very constructive at all. But she more or less relents and then ends up continuing the lesson and all of that. There are a few times as this goes on that a number of children just kind of whirlwind through, and they seem to recognize Pole immediately. As soon as they start hearing you play, a few of them come scampering in, and they start like climbing on you, and you can see that they're annoying Mirik, and then they kind of whirlwind out just as quickly as they had come.
Well, at least we know that the children like you, Pole.
You know, they might have earthier tastes than the adults here, which just suits me fine.
Okay.
So after some time has passed, and it seems like things are going to go as well as they're going to go. Finn is gonna walk over and make his grandiose walk all the way over to 24, probably stopping at some point to like sit because it's a long ass walk.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where the hell to go.
You have to go all the way down.
I see the path now.
Yeah, you have to go like...
Just follow the screaming children.
Yeah.
500... 200 feet!
That's so funny.
Oh, I'm here. I did it.
Okay, so Finn disappears for a long time.
Yep.
Finn, as you head into the nursery, a bustle of activity fills this room, and it is fairly noisy. Over a dozen lizardfolk adults and hatchlings mingle and play here. This appears to be a large nursery with adult lizardfolk and hatchlings distributed throughout the area in small groups. The young play or sleep while the adults chat, drink, and oil their bodies. Straw mattresses are scattered around the floor. Wooden tables hold earthenware cups, mugs, pitchers, and clay bowls filled with wild flowers. You see chairs sit beside the tables, and wooden stools are here and there. As you enter in, there's just a frenzy of bodies as children are flying around and adults are chasing after them or just lounging about.
There seem to be sort of I guess I shouldn't say I guess a head adult, but like is there like a someone who's sort of kind of in charge, or does it just look everyone sort of just...
It doesn't seem like any particular person stands out, but there is a table of adults and they're kind of sitting there, and as you walk in, a few of them are currently drinking and they murmur lowly to each other in a whisper. But they're all clearly looking at you and talking about you.
Okay, so Finn will notice and he'll go, okay. Take a deep breath, and he'll walk over to them, and he will say, in Draconic, which will probably freak them out, like he's probably done to everybody. He'll speak in Draconic and say, I was told by the God damn it, I hate words. Surveil?
Sorry.
Sorav? I've been told by Sorav to come here and help with the youngins, to help you guys. I'm here with a few other companions, and we've all been told to sort of help out and do our part, staying here, trying to help out. So he told me my best place would be here.
How dirty are you willing to get?
Well, I've been dragged across the floor today, so...
That tells me nothing. Everyone in here has a bit of dirt on them.
Well, I suppose I can prove to you how dirty I can get.
Good. Roll up your sleeves. And you see one of the lizard folk stands up and gestures you into the room. So we'll have a little bit of a montage here as you are requested to help. Basically, like, the equivalent of, like, changing diapers and, like, replacing pails and chasing children, tucking them in, feeding them, playing with them. Basically, it is tiresome and filthy work. And by the time you're done, a few things are missing from your pockets. Mostly food-related things. And you, despite being an adventurer, you're having to use muscles that you don't normally use, right? So you are beat, you are tired.
Yeah.
And this work will take a few hours.
I'm not going to want to translate for the rest of the night.
I love it. Okay, we're going back into the training room here. After the lunch break is over, we see both Garen and KayBee are still working away. Arlen, you see that Korth returns. And as soon as she enters the room, she seems to command a presence. Everyone snaps to attention.
I pay attention and kind of let her lead.
Okay, you wanted to join her training?
Basically, yeah. I don't want to intrude.
Okay.
But I'm going to just try to help her training by being the prime student.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely see she picks up pretty quickly what you're trying to do here. You can see that a few of the fellow students are getting frustrated because you're clearly kicking their asses. There are a few opportunities where she'll actually, like, clear the room, gesture you to fight one of the students, and you end up sparring a few of the different students. And clearly you kick their asses, you beat their teacher. And then it ends with another spar between you and her. Can you roll me an attack roll?
Okay.
Fuck. She rolled an
my
8.
gosh.
What is up with my rolls?
Okay, this is going to be +3.
Okay.
So 21.
So tell me how you want to flavor winning again.
Similar sort of situation, although now seeing her training and everything and spending a bit more time this afternoon with all of them, I imagine I pick up that they would consider it a bit insulting to be treated like babyish or like not be taken seriously. So I think I take this one like a lot more seriously. And it seems a lot more one-sided in my direction, but I'm still... Arlen's cocky, so I think she's still kind of like extending it longer than it needs to go. But yeah, eventually does just kind of quote unquote pin her.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. As soon as you floor her, she taps the floor as if to concede. And once you let go of her, she begins to gesture to you. And she speaks very enthusiastically, very sternly to her people. And they all seem to regard you for a moment. And they all give you a nod and everyone begins to leave. And she leaves as well. KayBee and Garen, you saw the whole thing. You saw Arlen just effortlessly slide into the group of students, end up kicking a few of their asses, and then kick the ass of the instructor.
The instructor seemed to be, I guess, humiliated when they left.
No.
Okay.
It seemed to be quite commanding, gesturing quite a bit to Arlen,
So
and then it
almost
just
like,
seemed like over.
so almost like it was some aspect of reverence.
Perhaps.
Respect. Kind of
Respect.
Respectful.
Yeah, definitely more respect than reverence. You definitely don't get a sense of warmth from her, but definitely like a look at her, be like this kind of energy.
God, Arlen's head's getting bigger.
Yeah, the
I know.
legend of Arlen grows more and more each day.
Stop being a bad.
And it's not good for her.
No, it's
Join up.
good. It's good. That's
Any-
great generals lead great armies.
If you want to hit her, aim for the head.
Can't miss
Never
it.
It's her biggest spot.
So after, go ahead.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to say anything.
I was gonna change the scene.
Go for it.
Okay, so after a couple of hours, you all gather back to the throne room here as you spend quite a bit of time with the people of this layer here. And when you return, you find the queen and Sariv both in the room. And as you're entering, they seem to be having a hushed conversation. You can see that there are a few other people gathered here as well. Korth is among them. Mirik, the bard, is here. One of the people from the nursery is here. And the group of you recognize a group of the lizard folk that were aboard the Sea Ghost a few days ago.
Goodness.
As you come up, the queen says to you, "You have proven that you can at least be trusted for a day. My people here speak highly of your efforts, and they do not go unnoticed. I have been speaking with Sariv, and I think perhaps we would like to give you one final test. Should you accept, you will have the full support of both myself, my minister, and my people. And we will agree to an alliance with the people of Saltmarsh."
All right.
Agreed.
So what would you like?
In the swamp, there is a fabled creature that is sacred to my people. His name is Thousand Teeth, the Devourer. We have long revered Thousand Teeth, and we have always thought that his kind are a good omen. We have lived alongside them for quite some time, and it has never been a problem until recently. We have lost a few people to Thousand Teeth, and while my people can do nothing about it, you as outsiders are beyond the restrictions that we have of our reverence and religion. I would like you to bring me the head of Thousand Teeth. Eliminate this threat for us, and you will have our trust. What say you?
I say, what about our weapons?
Of course. And she gestures, and the weapons, every single one of them, are brought back to you in the arms of guards.
With my weapons and our weapons armed, I would say we're up for the task. And then he gestures over to everybody else to make sure that they're all good with me speaking for them. With weapons and with our weapons, yeah.
Yeah, this won't be a problem. Can you give us a bit more of a precise location as
Oh,
to
yes,
where
that
we
would be
could
great
find
too.
Thousand Teeth?
Yeah, she gestures over to Sarif, and you see Sarif waddle up with his little old man waddle, and he presents to you a map of the swamp, and there is a mark. He says, because the lair is close to a possible route of attack from the Sahagin, we dare not leave the area unpatrolled. As a result, a number of our patrols have been eaten by Thousand Teeth.
Mm.
Alright,
Um,
well, may I take that? Gesturing to the map.
Of course, it is for you. And he gives you a map.
yeah.
Thank you.
I think we
how-
know.
I think Garen has an idea of where to look already from the tracks that he saw on the way in.
What can you tell us about Thousand Teeth? I think maybe we'll recognize them when we see them, but what else can you tell us?
Oh, Thousand Teeth is a giant crocodile.
Mm.
A creature of legend.
How far away on the map does this area look to be?
I think 12 miles. Let me double check. Yep, 12 miles.
So,
So about an 8-hour journey away.
Ooh.
alright. Well, we'll be back
I have
tomorrow.
a question.
Yes, what is it, young one?
Well, this Thousand Teeth have been here for a real long time, and he only just recently started attacking you. Is that right?
Yes.
What if we found out what was causing it to behave that way and stopped that instead of killing it? Would that be good enough?
Perhaps. If you can ensure that it will permanently not be an issue for my people, especially in this time where we are at threat of war, we would be open to it. We do revere these creatures, after all. We cannot slay them ourselves.
And it may be a good defense against the Sahagin if they come that route.
True, but we cannot leave the route unattended, and it seems
Yeah.
that Thousand Teeth will eat without any restraint.
All right, well, we'll try and talk to it first. But if it can't be reasoned with, well, we know what we have to do.
Very good. Before you go,
Mm-hmm.
and she gestures over to Sarov, and Sarov waddles back up to you and presents a single flask, a gift from us.
Thank
Ooh.
you.
Who will take the flask?
Big.
Arlen.
Okay.
Take the flask.
Arlen, you are given a flask. As you open it to smell it, it smells awful.
Means it's potent healing medicine, correct?
And
Yeah.
what should I expect from this?
It will heal your wounds if they are dire.
Hmm.
Alright.
Yeah. DM, what is our current time of day? Is it evening now?
Yes.
Okay.
It was I had two more pieces of business. Number one, can we rest before we do this?
Of
Or do you-
course, there's no rush.
Okay. Number two, I don't remember if we brought this up to you or not, either one of you, but we did have our ship here, and we don't really want any of you, of your kin to think that our crew is also evil people or bad or try to come for us. Is there a way that one of us or someone else from your kin can go and tell the people at our ship that, hey, they're okay, everything's fine?
You are
I don't
not
wanna start.
prisoners here. You may go as you please and do as you like. If you would like us
Okay.
to send a messenger on your behalf, we can certainly do so.
Well, we just didn't want to leave because you told us you didn't want us to leave until we came to you first. So I didn't know until now that I was given the okay to leave. So
Do as you must.
okay. I think rest on the ship would be nice, and then to the thing in the morning. What do y'all say?
So
Oh.
it did take you quite a bit of time to get here.
Oh,
If you go all the way back to your boat, it will essentially eat up most of your night, and
okay.
you'll
Well-
be exhausted. It'll be like, I think, like we said, 6, maybe 7 hours back to your
I-
boat.
Totally forgot that.
Yeah.
I'll just swim back.
You just
and
swim
I'll
back.
let them know.
Or even, I can send friend with a
You
written
can send
message.
friend or penny sprinkle. Yeah, we could do something of that nature. Now that we're
Yes.
allowed to do this sort
Leave.
of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
All right. Then rest here, I guess, because I certainly need it.
I could use a swim, and
Oh, I could use a shower.
I want
too,
to
now I
make
think
sure
about
that the boat's not on fire. So
it. 'Cause
I can
totally-
go back really quickly.
She
Oh.
just wants to stop Naked Day.
No, Naked Day would still be tomorrow.
Technically, yeah, it'd be tomorrow.
Okay, so you are given a private room to rest, and Arlen will go for a swim.
Yeah,
Okay, what are you wearing?
just my normal armor and everything.
Okay, where are you going?
Out of the cave and just swimming through the ocean towards the ship.
Okay, you want to go all the way back to the ship?
Yep.
Okay. Arlen, as you are making your way back to the ship, it is now raining. You find that it is dark and stormy outside, and when you get to the boat, you scare the fucking shit out of everyone on board. You also see everyone is butt naked.
No, Naked Day is the day after I leave.
And everybody blames Tully.
Holly. That's fine. It's whatever. How are things? Are things okay here?
You have... Oh god, there's so many NPCs on this boat.
Imla?
Sure, yeah, Imloth is the one that kind of gives you the breakdown of everything that happened. Well, there was a small fire, but it was taken care of. Nothing really to be concerned with. Other than that, everything is fine. The crew is resting. We have caught quite a bit of fish out here.
That's good.
How are things going over there? Did you find what you're looking for?
So far, yes. We are going to need to travel to go, kill a creature for the lizard folk to prove that, they can trust us. And then from there, we'll have a better idea. We heard that they're going to be attacking the Sahagin in a few days. So
Oh.
I imagine if we're successful with this, we might be able to help with that.
Are there any preparations that you'd like us to make?
Not right now. Just hang tight until we can confirm whether we need you. Since it's a Sahagan stronghold, we may be able to take the ship to get a little bit closer, but it just depends where it is.
Very good.
Until then, no more fires, please.
Oh, trust me, I am doing everything I can to avoid it.
Well, you have my full confidence that you can take care of this.
Okay. Sorry, I was just trying to decide, is Imloth also naked?
You know, that's a good question.
No, she's fully clothed. She's the only person on the boat that's wearing clothes.
Yeah, she seemed the type to respect the actual day of Naked Day.
Yeah.
When it's supposed to be. That's why she's still clothed.
Of course. She says, "Very good, Captain."
Alright. Do you need anything?
I do not. I was wondering how you're doing and seeing you here. My worries are put to rest.
Alright. Yes, we are well. We just spent the day helping them in order to get enough trust for them to ask them to kill us. To kill this thing. We're going to do that tomorrow. And then hopefully I'll be able to come back tomorrow night and give you an update.
Very good. Well, good luck.
Thank you. Well,
Be careful out there. The water is quite dark.
It is, but I'm used to swimming in these sorts of conditions anyway.
Of course.
Well, I should get going.
All right. Goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, Imloth.
Then you go back into the water and start to head back towards the lair.
Yeah.
On your way there, it is dark
Nothing
and
bad
stormy. You hear thunder rolling overhead. The waves crash angrily, and you see a dark shadow of something massive chasing after you. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check as you get chased by a fucking shark.
I mean, I could just kill a shark.
Okay, but this is like an extra spooky shark, okay?
This is a
You can't
killer
see
whale.
Okay, 16. So, the shark just happens upon you faster than you had anticipated. You find that its jaws crunch down onto some of your equipment, and you are able to wrangle free, but you lose something. You have drawn the Ruin card.
Oh no!
We have revised the rules for Ruin. You lose 2 non-magical possessions.
Okay.
What do you lose? And what gets eaten by the shark?
The shark will eat... my mace
Okay.
and ooh, let's do my signet ring.
Very good. So you're able to wrangle free at the expense of these items, and you make it the rest of the way back to the lair unscathed otherwise. How does Arlen feel about losing her signet ring?
I don't know that she notices immediately. She might notice, like, because it's like a smaller possession that I imagine she keeps in her bag. And so she might not realize it until she goes looking for it.
Okay, very good. So the rest of you sleep soundly. You hear the murmurs and the scuttling of everyone in the lair passing by as they curiously make their way through. Yes, KayBee.
So old men don't sleep long. So if I have the opportunity with Sarev, I'm going to talk about business. I'm going to tell him about Keoland, about my travels
Okay.
from Pilm's Delve to the capital of Noldra, down to Grodsul in Saltmarsh. I'm going to tell him about opportunities. I'm going to help him figure out what he can do to help his people, maybe through trade.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me investigation. 23. Very good. Sarev is up late with you. or wakes up early. You spend quite a few hours in the company of Sarav in his cozy little room, and the camera slowly pulls back as these two older gentlemen exchange ideas over a warm fire. And that's where we're going to end today's session. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much for all the show of support, everyone. We're going to go around real quick and tell you who we are, where you can find us, and what our favorite part of the episode was. And we'll start off with Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Emma Panada. On Twitch, we run TTRPG games. My partner runs a great Curse of Strahd game on my channel Tuesday nights. And on Twitter, I just shitpost. I'm also writing a TTRPG called All the Witches. The link for that is in the chat as well, I believe. But yeah, my favorite part for tonight was definitely Cole kind of hanging out with the kids and playing music for them. That was just real sweet, and I liked it.
Excellent. Thank you. GeekDice.
Muted. I'm GeekDice. This is where I live. You can find me here in a couple weeks. Had a lot of fun. And I think today I really enjoyed, it seemed deliberate that Arlen kind of stepped back and nudged Finn forward for him to have the opportunity in the leadership role. I really enjoyed that he accepted the challenge onto himself to in a way be an ambassador, to seek out, engage, talk to the lizard folk, to notionally to carry that water, to be the person to convince them that, hey, the people of Saltmarsh maybe not that bad. I thought that was inspiring. I was glad for that. Good job.
Excellent. Thank you, thank you. Next we have Godfather Race.
Hey, I'm Godfather Race. So, yeah, I'd say my favorite part would be the early naked day.
Of course, the second you got back on your ship, it was gonna be total anarchy.
Right.
I love it.
Mom's gone.
Woo! Throw the pants
Oh,
overboard.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Next, we have Indicarus.
Hey, I'm John, or Indicarus on the internet. Yeah, you can find me on lots of different social media as Indicarus. In particular, I make some little games and stories, and you can find them on my Itch channel. Another cool thing is that I do a lot of vegan food porn. So if you like looking at pictures of food that's homemade and cool, yeah, you can find it on any of those social media. As for Pole's favorite, my favorite moment of the game, I don't know, there were a lot, and some of them were already mentioned, but I think the the quest for the Merfolk, the quest for the lizard folk who we eventually found and gave us our jobs to do, was very long and funny, and they traveled in a whole circle, circumnavigated the whole stronghold, and that was kind of epic, super funny. So I liked that, and I liked that we almost got there, but it was like just right across the street from where Arlen was kicking the ass of their best fighters.
Yeah.
It was pretty sweet.
We walked by the door 3 times.
Totally. Yeah. that was awesome.
Awesome. I'm glad. Thank you so much. Next, we have Zombie.
Hello, I am Jacob. I'm Zombie IMZ. I'm whatever those two names you like to call me. I'm the lore keeper, and I am Captain C of the Good Ship Clip. I probably do too many clips, but that's up to your own discretion. Tonight's favorite moment for me. Oh man, there's so many good moments that we're talking about. I did enjoy being able to roleplay a little bit, get Finn a little bit more comfortable with being the ambassador, sort of getting into the translation. And then quickly realizing that he's going to have to be everywhere at once, and he's sort of like about that, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about both the NPCs that we met today, which was the Queen and the captain, and then also the ship. And Arlen comes back, and everything is just gone crazy, and everyone's just running around naked because, of course, Tully would start something. So that's just Tully, and he's the greatest. But yeah, for my own self, you can find me still as Discord. She lets me live there. I'm very appreciative of it, and I like being there. I am also on Twitter at ZombieFighter89, where I do a lot of. Right now, I'm doing a lot of. There's a certain D&D Twitter that I've been constantly retweeting their stuff. It's been really fun. Also retweeting Kirby stuff because that game's coming out soon. And I've been making video posts for this game, the Witchlight game, and the Strixhaven game that you can see on this very channel because they're all awesome games. Twitch. I'll be doing very soon once the Kirby game comes out. I'm going to stream some of that because I think it'll be really, really fun to do. And then Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern time, you can find me and B Street Holmes doing our Knights of Nirvana thing. Where we talk about nerdy news and all that other fun stuff. And if you're interested, you can DM me on Discord or on Twitter, depending on which one's easiest for you, for editing purposes. If you want stuff edited for you, some videos, some highlights, and stuff, cool stuff done for you, I give a few references. I'm almost complete getting the okay from all the references that I need to make a little card. So yeah, and so come hire me, please.
Thank you. Secrets of Saltmarsh will be back in 2 weeks on Wednesday, the 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The next stream that we'll have here is Unbound on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I just want to say real quick, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much for all of your show of support. And if you want to get into a game, we have recently publicly announced our Strixhaven campaign, which is an open roster campaign, which means anybody can play at any time. It is open roster. You just make a new character, and that's it. You start at level 1. And if you want more information about that, you just hop into our Discord, and we can get you in a game. And that is geared towards new people. So if you don't have any experience, that's totally fine. We'll teach you how to do everything. That's going to be it for us tonight. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.